Good evening, Wolves. Welcome back to the Wolves Bar podcast. Tonight isn't a motivational fluff. Tonight isn't you got this energy. Tonight is the receipt because everyone loves the idea of success, but nobody loves the process that comes with it. They want the title, they want the glow up, they want the respect. But they don't want the loneliness, the silence, the guilt, the burned bridges, and the versions of themselves that have to die along the way. So if you're chasing something real and it's starting to feel ugly, heavy, and isolating, sit down. This episode is for you. This is episode 35 of the Wolves Bar podcast. Success is ugly and becoming him costs everything. Success is ugly. Nobody tells you this part. Success doesn't look like Instagram. It looks like missed calls you don't return. It looks like saying no when your heart wants to say yes. It looks like choosing discipline when comfort is begging you to stop. Success is waking up tired and going anyway. It's working while everyone else is celebrating. It's watching people misunderstand you and letting them. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. Success makes you inconvenient. You stop being available. You stop being agreeable. You stop fitting into rooms built for smaller versions of you. And people will say, you changed. No, you grew. And they stayed comfortable. Success is ugly because it forces you to choose between being liked and being honest with yourself. And if you're doing it right, you will lose people. Let's talk about something deep. A lot of men are carrying wounds they never named because nobody taught them how. The silence between fathers and sons isn't empty. It's loud with unspoken expectation, disappointment, pride, fear, and regret. Some fathers were hard because life was harder. Some sons grew distance because they never felt enough. And so the cycle repeats. Men who don't know how to speak raise boys who don't know how to ask, etc. But here's the truth most men avoid. You don't need an apology to heal. You need understanding. Understanding that your father did what he could with what he had. Understanding that your job isn't to become him, but to become better where you can. Reconciliation isn't always a conversation. Sometimes it's breaking patterns. Sometimes it's becoming the man you needed, even if nobody showed you how. There comes a point where you stop explaining. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're done bleeding for people who never cared about the wound. You don't owe everyone access to you. You don't owe everyone closure. You don't owe everyone comfort. Some people benefited from your silence, your loyalty, your patience. And now they're angry. You're no longer available to be drained. That's not your problem. When you fall into your right to be done, you walk away without noise, without revenge, without guilt. Not everyone deserves the new version of you, and that doesn't make you cruel. It makes you awake. Let's be honest. You want to level up. You want to become him. Here's the price. You lose comfort. You lose excuses. You lose old habits. You lose old version of yourself you secretly liked. You lose people who only loved you when you were small. Becoming him means discipline. On days motivation doesn't show up. It means standing alone without applause. It means choosing long-term respect over short-term approval. And yes, it hurts, but so does staying stuck. The difference: one pain builds you, the other slowly kills you. Choose wisely. We can't talk success without talking about the lie that eats the strong. Imposter syndrome is not humility, it is self betrayal dressed as realism. It's the voice that says, "You don't belong here, they'll find out, you just got lucky, you are not really that good." And it hits the hardest not in weak people, but in ones who are actually leveling up. Because small minds don't doubt themselves, only growing minds do. Here's the cruel trick: the moment you step into a bigger room, your brain panics. New standards, new peers, new expectations, and suddenly your old wins feel small, even though they build the floor you're standing on. So your mind rewrites history. That grind, nothing special. That success, look. That growth, anyone could have done it. No, they couldn't. You did. Imposter syndrome is what happens when your old identity hasn't caught up to your new reality. You upgraded your life, but your self-image is still running on outdated software. And instead of celebrating progress, you interrogate it. You don't say, "I earned this." You say, "I slipped past the guards." That's not modesty. That's psychological sabotage. The truth: you don't feel like an imposter because you don't belong. You feel like an imposter because you do, and you're terrified of losing it. So you shrink yourself. You downplay your work. You hide your confidence. You stay silent when you should speak. And wait for permission that will never come. And meanwhile, people with half your skill walk forward like kings, because they never stop to ask if they were allowed to exist. Imposter syndrome isn't telling you you're fake, it's telling you you outgrew who you used to be, and your nervous system hasn't caught up yet. You're not sneaking into a room, you built the door, you paid the price, you walked through it. So stop bowing to a ghost of your past. You're not an imposter, you are a man in transition, and that always feels unstable right before it becomes powerful. Think about that. So here's the howl of the week today. If the path feels lonely, it's because most people quit where you decided to continue. Don't quit, keep pushing. You are warned. So this is episode 35 of the Wolves Bar podcast. Success is ugly, and becoming him costs everything. If this episode made you uncomfortable, good. Growth doesn't feel safe. If it made you feel seen, even better. You're not alone in this grade. Remember, success isn't pretty. Healing isn't loud. And becoming him costs everything you were never meant to keep. We don't chase applause here. We chase truth, depth, and legacy. Until next time, stay sharp, stay dangerous, and don't apologize for becoming more than they expected.